Welcome to the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast.
So do you think that you got away with a lot of things when you were a kid, more so because technology wasn't as advanced as it is now? Do you think kids get away with more or less? And when I say get away with, I mean whatever, sneak it behind your parents without your parents finding out right away or ever.
Yeah.
What do you think? Any thoughts on it? Because I do have thoughts on it.
The things I got away with
when
I was a kid were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not, it's like now kids are getting away with doing something on Facebook or doing, maybe something digital. Whereas the stuff I did to get away with was actually physical, outside, or something you did sneakily in your bedroom, or stuff like that.
I mean, I think that probably the easiest thing before technology became easily trackable and all that kind of stuff, and smartphones, was that if you were going to reach out to your parents, or they were going to reach out to you, you probably didn't have a way to do that until you had a phone to carry around. But I think that the game has changed a little bit, partially because of what Sam was saying. It depends on the parent, because because all of that technology is now in your hand. The things that you're getting away with are right in the house. You don't have to leave the house to
Well, but
and again, and also, by the way, getting away with things. It's not like it was all negative stuff. I don't know that I was doing anything wrong, but you had a sense of freedom when you were away from home.
Oh yeah,
you didn't have a phone.
Going out with your friends, you were out. I don't know how my parents stood that now. Because
there was no other option.
I guess I know.
You didn't know any
what I'm saying is we can't know what it was like to be a parent during that time.
Yeah, because we've been lucky that.
We have this situation, Murphy, where our girls, we can pick up our devices and know where they are at any time. Now, they didn't want that at first. when we put the tracking at the
Life
family,
360.
Life 360, you know where everybody is in the family. Taylor, especially our oldest, was so against it. She was so just ugged out by it. She's like, this is awful.
And I think Life 360 was available before the whole, follow your family on the iPhone and all that kind of stuff, because both of our girls have iPhones, and so that would have been just as easy to,
Now
to
it's
do.
funny because I have so many things to say about this, but what's funny about us all, the four of us have that, and we know we can. I forget to look at it unless I need to call and I want to see if Phoebe's in class or something. I don't think to look at it, but I mentioned something the other day to Phoebes about, slowing down her driving a little bit, and she was like, oh no. She said, I'm not the fastest driver in this family. That's Dad. And she said, we have clocked him at so-and-so miles per hour. And apparently, I didn't know this either. If you're going a certain speed on this app, it shows like a rocket. There's an emoji.
Yeah, I've not actually seen that. She says, oh, yeah, Dad, your car has fire coming out of it. What? Yes, okay.
Yeah, that's funny because you use that to track them, and they can turn around. Because Maddie has done that before. I'll get a text out of nowhere. Why are you over there?
Oh,
or,
that's
why are you
cute.
this? And it's like,
that's cute.
Oh, that's right. Life 360.
Well, and that was our explanation back in the day when we first put it on Taylor's phone. It's like, look, all of it, you'll be able to do the same thing for me and Mom. It goes both ways. I'm type 1 diabetic. If something happens, I would rather y'all know where I am. So it's this is not just a one-way thing.
No, it's not. And we had to, but she was, in high school, and she did not want that. And she had friends whose parents were already doing it and doing it in weird ways. Like she had a friend whose mom would go, why are you at Target? And so that's she felt much. She didn't feel any freedom even when she was away with her friends. We don't do that to our girls.
No. I mean,
we never have.
That was. I mean, that kind of, to me, that kind of defeats the purpose. They're safe, then why do that?
It gives me peace of mind at those times where I wonder if they made it to their destination or things like that. I like to look. Okay.
The only thing that would stress you, Jodi, was when their phones were less than 5% charged.
Still does.
Right.
Still does.
And Jodi would send that text message, hey, charge your phone.
Yeah, I don't care where you are, but you're about to lose the phone.
Right. Stay with your friends, charge your phone. Yeah. Love you. I have sent that. I don't do it anymore because to me, it's like I've said it 100 million times.
Well, they're young adults.
And they're young adults. And if they hit that bump where their phone loses charge, they're going to be the ones to feel that, there's nothing like making a mistake that you end up feeling to learn from that mistake. Anyway, I bring it up because it's funny. I think it works both ways. Technology helps and hinders in, kids getting away with things. For instance, I don't know how long we've had, I guess ever since we've been together, Murphy, ever since I've known you.
Yeah.
You lived in a place where when the doors open, ding, ding, ding. When a window opens, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, that's not a new technology at all.
It's not a new technology to you, but I didn't grow up with anything like that. We barely locked our doors in the country. So do you think I ever snuck out of my window? Of course I did. To go, ride around with my friends. I did a few times.
Yeah.
And my parents had no idea. As long as I was back before they'd wake up in the morning and I say, it was my mom.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, I didn't go out for hours and hours, but I remember.
It sounds like it. You were back before they woke up.
Climbing out of a window or slipping out of a door that nobody heard and riding around in a car with a friend for an hour and then going back home was done. That could not happen today.
Well, my grandmother had a security system. I mean, as long as I could remember. So
Upscale.
It's not like, no, it wasn't upscale.
I know.
It was because my grandfather had passed away, and my uncle was concerned about her living in the house all by herself.
Sure.
With different things. So I don't think that was about wealth or anything like that. What I think that was about is it was a different time and place where most people didn't feel they needed to have an alarm system. Yeah. My parents didn't until they were robbed. And then when that happened, when they were burglarized, I should say.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding.
Then after that, it was a security system.
Right. So I've had that thought. And
every house that I've lived in, I've had one. If it didn't have one, I installed it. So
look, my cousins, my beautiful, sweet, dear cousins, Candace and Crystal, this is a true story. Candace, being the oldest, would sometimes slip out of her upstairs bedroom window, land on the upstairs deck, walk down and go hang out with her friends and come back through the same window. And then Crystal becomes of age and she does it. Same thing Candace has successfully done for years. And Crystal got caught doing it. And it was to see her boyfriend. My uncle, the very next day, I think they were punished. The boyfriend was spoken to. And by the way, she's married to him now. He's in the family, Phil.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was spoken to by my uncle, but my uncle sawed down, whatever. The deck, the upstairs decking was gone.
Lord.
He got rid of the ability for him to climb out of a window.
How was she caught?
I don't remember. A dog, or my uncle was up and saw her. I don't remember.
I thought you were going to say by that point the alarm system had been put in. It was ding, ding, ding.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't know how. I wasn't, I don't know how, but I just know we showed up at the house as we always did every summer, and that back thing was gone, the back decking, that high. And I was like, what happened to that? Oh, well. And then we heard the story. And Candace was like, don't ask.
That's fine. I'm not that I was a, goody two-shoes, but I never snuck out of the house.
Good for you.
To be with, I might have stayed later where,
Yeah.
If I went out with my friends, but I never did sneak out or anything.
Yeah. I bring it up because of that 3 Things to Know story we touched on today in the show about the 12-year-old boy who got hungry in the middle of the night. He was playing games on his computer, and he decided to download the DoorDash app, ordered a bunch of McDonald's food. The DoorDash driver drove to the house, and I guess in the app you can say the instructions for leaving the food. He, I guess, threw the bag up to the kid and through the window, and when the mom found out about it later, probably days later, she was not as mad as she was kind of impressed. That's the story.
It's pretty entrepreneurial.
It is. I'm hungry. I need some food delivered to me. And that's the world he lives in.
Yeah.
And he paid for the food,
I had that done. Parker and had a friend over one time, and they did that, because they would stay up late on the weekends playing video games. I was asleep.
Yeah.
I hear the doorbell at 2 a.m. I was like, whoa.
Right.
You get up and you're in a daze, and it's like, yeah, we just ordered some Taco Bell. Okay.
You did get up. Well, that's good. If I heard the ding ding, and we do sometimes when the girls are at the house at 2 a.m, I'll just check to see if they're home. And if I know they're home, I know they know to lock the doors. I don't know why they were out. Yeah. There's no telling. Yeah. Running to get something from the car. And having, feeling like it was yesterday when I was a teenager, but then having teenagers also. One other thing that jumped out to me when they were in high school, Murph, when the high school they went to if they were late arriving, we would get a message or a phone call from the school. They're not at school. And so the idea of skipping school is also very different thanks to technology. We would get a heads up.
Well, that was an automated text, yeah.
Yeah.
And when roll call was done, if you weren't present for roll call, the notification went out.
Most of the time, the girls were just running late.
Right. And that's a good thing. But, now that I'm thinking about this, and I love my mom to death, but if we'd have had Life 360, she would have been one who would have been on top of us for everything. My mom probably would have tracked every single move at any time. You know?
And
I know the bell just rang. Where are you? I'm still in the parking lot at school.
And the interesting thing about that is just because you can, as a parent, you should not make your part of the whole process is you're supposed to slowly let them go. Slowly let them fly.
Yeah. When it's age appropriate and whatever you think that their capabilities are, yes.
Yes. But don't make them feel like you're always breathing down on them, because what happens?
Yeah.
You get a kid who doesn't want to be around an overbearing parent.
My son Will is 31, and he still has it on his phone.
I love it. I love that he does.
It's like I can always, when he was overseas, I could actually see, you're here today.
Yeah.
Can't pronounce it, but I see where you are.
When we had that conversation with Taylor and Phoebe early on, about, look, your dad's a type 1 diabetic. I want to know where he is if I can't reach him. And what if his blood sugar drops rapidly and he's behind the wheel? Yeah. I want to know where that is. If I'm calling and I can't get him. And when we explained it to them that way, I think they were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. What's weird about that is there are apps too that will do, if you're wearing a glucose monitor like I do, like the G6, the Dexcom, you can sign up, friends to be alerted when you go above a certain threshold or below.
Wonderful.
But I can tell you that's one, and I think that is certainly valuable if you've got kids who are type 1 and you want to monitor them while they're in school, or elderly parents or somebody maybe that can't really look after themselves like they should, or be able to, or like they could. But for me, I wouldn't want to burden you with that, Jodi. And it's not a bad safety thing, but I don't want the alert going off. The alert drives me crazy, when I'm shifting one way or the other. But,
well, that's lovely of you to say, and that's where we are now. And hopefully we'll never be in a
maybe
place.
one day I should set it up when it goes below, because the low blood sugar is the most dangerous thing for a type 1, or I guess anybody.
Yes.
But for type 1, the low blood sugar has the most immediate consequences. If your blood sugar goes to 0, you essentially your brain will fail, that sort of thing. It's an emergency, can be an emergency situation. So I get the reason, for wanting those alerts. But I mean, that technology also did not exist. And I'm sure that's a godsend for a lot of people that worry about, their loved ones. And I'm sure there are other medical conditions that have the same thing with monitoring apps that do similar things.
It's better. It's just different. Our lives are different now because of technology. Hopefully better.
You were asking about what did you get away with earlier, but think of it as from the parent side, our side. We've been able to keep eyes on our kids without keeping eyes on our kids because of the technology.
Yeah.
I think about my mom, when I would say, hey, I'm going to play with so-and-so.
She's had to trust.
That's all day. I mean, I could be with so-and-so. I could have gone somewhere else. I could have, and so-and-so could have gone to some,
Yeah.
She just, as long as you're back by dinner time or whatever time it was.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, just think of that. You don't know anything.
No, you have to really just trust. Like the first times that our girls went somewhere driving by themselves, I was beside myself and I could still track, but I was still beside myself. If you couldn't know, you really had to, trust your child, your teaching, your inner adult needed to take over.
I'm sure that my mom was anxious about a lot of those things. I know that she was by the time we started driving. And if I got home, with whatever she considered as late, there were a few times it was 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, but this time I'm like 19, almost 20 years old or something like that. Yeah. But, she would, that would worry her.
Of course.
If we weren't checking in, and
because what is going on at that? She's right. She was right about what's going on at that time of the night. And usually it's just you hanging out with your friends. You feeling your newfound freedoms of being a young person.
Yeah, I think it's like anything. It's like anything else. It's a tool, and if you use the tool responsibly and for the right reasons, it has great use. If you abuse the tool, then you're going to have unintended consequences. if you're breathing down your kid's neck or something like that.
Totally.
You know, when they're actually not doing anything wrong.
Last little, what did you get away with, or what could kids get away with before that they cannot now? I guess they could do it online now, but you guys remember what our report cards used to look like?
Mm-hmm.
They were handwritten. They were written with the teacher's marks in pen. Right, you would take we would take our report card to every class, and our teacher would put our grade on it by the end of the day. And Mom and Dad knew when report cards were coming.
Well, wait a second. Was it that way when you went into middle and high school too?
It was different in middle and high school.
In elementary school, it was handwritten but by the 6th grade, for me, it was all computerized.
I was in the country.
Yeah, mine too.
I was out in the country, so it was slower to adopt things, I guess. But I feel like I remember in junior high having a report card with the writing.
Were those delivered by horseback to your parents?
Pony Express.
Do you want to hear the story or not?
I do. Sorry.
I remember a friend of mine asking me to change his D to a B. Yes. It was like a math class D, and he needed it to be a B, and he gave me a pen, and he was begging me to change it. Like, this is how you do it. Let's practice. And I didn't do it. I was so scared. I don't know. He wanted somebody else's handwriting, maybe. I have no idea. He probably ended up doing it, but I kind of lost that friendship because of that.
Well, I mean...
And that's okay.
Good call for you. You don't have that one weighing on your conscience. The thing is, there was another copy of that report card somewhere, so all he was going to do is delay the misery.
I guess you're
Honestly,
right.
you probably make it worse. It would be better if it were just the real D and you take that little pill. But once you lie and you change it and then the real grade comes back 3 months later or whatever, yeah, that would be tough.
Missed any part of the show? Get it all on the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi podcast.